everyone. Some exciting news today I want to share with you. We've been working this week on a return to learn plan for our secondary students. I know some of you are pretty anxious about getting this information as well. So a few things have gone into this planning, this discussion. We had to get approval from the local public health and from Minnesota Department of Health to have pieces in place and mitigation strategies in place that will be approved for coming back. Another piece that's going to be important as we think about a return to learn is some of the requirements in the Safe Learning Plan from Department of Education include a rolling start and having some prep time to just put things together for that. So in order to get the prep time in there, we want to make sure we're waiting until after the February 12th workday that we've got in place. So we're looking at February 16th as being our start for return for middle school, high school students back to the full face-to-face, and then we'll have to do it in 2-week intervals. So the big pieces that I want to share with you today, and we do have approval from public health and stuff to get this together and be able to come back to full face-to-face. We're looking at grades 5 and 6 at the middle school, and grades 9 and 10 at the high school. We'll come back starting Tuesday, February 16th. The Tuesday, there's no school Monday. And then again, because we need to have that other prep day in there, we're looking at January 25th. We had some time to kind of work on things. And then the February 12th, again, you'll have some time to get things together. Things like getting desks back in the room to have enough spots for everybody. Things like getting seating charts figured out for having more kids in the room and just thinking through some of those changes. So February 16th, grades 5 and 6 and 9 and 10 will come back. And then waiting 2 weeks after that, so March 1st, will be grades 7 and 8 and 11 and 12. So March 1st, we'll get everybody else back, and that'll be the day we finally have everybody back in school. And I know that's relief for a lot of people, just kind of get that change back, and knowing that we certainly have some strategies to think about, mitigation strategies through that. So some pieces I want to share with you as we're thinking about that. Learn at home has been an option all year for everyone, and that's going to remain an option. That's something the state is still requiring we offer, because we know we have families that just aren't going to be comfortable, or for health reasons they're not able to come back yet face to face. So learn at home remains an option for families that choose to have that. And then the pieces in the school, we want to make sure that the masks are still going to be required. I think that's something that might be one of the misconceptions with coming back full face-to-face is, some things are going to look different, some things are going to remain the same. We're still living in the day with this pandemic, and vaccines are coming out, and I think that's really exciting. We got a lot of people through that clinic, but we still have some of these other pieces we still have to do as well. So something I'm going to encourage with families, and I'm going to encourage you to talk with kids too, coming back in, having those masks and having them up over their noses and covering their faces. That's really important. We need to make sure we're stressing that. And I think the more comfortable we become and the more the kids are feeling some normal, I think the more some of those things are going to be harder for them to follow. So we really want to stress that coming back, the hand washing, the spacing out. So when we talked to Department of Health about the approval for our plan to come back, they said, we recognize you won't have 6 foot all the time, the 6 foot social distancing, and that's okay. That's part of the approval plan. Is they said, we realize that won't be possible in all the areas, but let's get as much as we can. So keep the desks spread out in the rooms as much as we can. Keep the spacing in those common areas as much as we can. We still won't have the large group gatherings and such that we're excited to get some of those back too. But we're just going to take it one piece at a time. So I'm really excited about that piece. Some other things just to think about. In the buildings, we're going to have some more availability for lockers for kids. We know that right now when they're coming in with all their winter gear and stuff, they're able to put that on an empty desk. We won't have the empty desks in some of the classrooms we have now. So lockers will become available for students, at least for winter gear spots to put things. Thinking about quarantines and close contacts, all of that still is going to be in place. So if we have a student who tests positive or is exposed to someone that tests positive, they're still going to stay home. Some of that's going to look a little bit different. They'll still be marked absent in the attendance tracking piece, because we need to keep track of where students are at. But within the classrooms, that's going to look a little different for you. This isn't going to be a full hybrid model like what we've got going on right now. So I think offering the ability for students to attend virtually, that's great. We can that can be possible, but we're not expecting you in a full face-to-face model to be making the multiple attempts to get kids logged in and doing all that work. If they're missing work and they're gone for quarantine, we're going to treat that like they're absent for an illness. If students aren't on quarantine, they don't have the option to attend virtually. The virtual option is just for quarantine. So that's something if we have kids logging in or choosing on their own to come in some other way, they're going to be marked unexcused in that model. We're making some additional considerations for lunchtimes space, adding some extra tables and chairs and such at the high school, just so we can keep that spacing. At lunch, they're going to be taking their masks off to eat, and we need to make sure that we have the additional spacing there. That extra space is really important there. So you'll see some extra things taking place, some planning around that at the high school level in particular. That's really the piece I wanted to share with you today and just get this information out. I know we're excited about all these pieces, and there's just still some pieces to be thinking about. So I'm planning on communicating this out to families either later over the weekend or by early next week. But I want you to have the information first. Some more specifics as far as schedules and rotations and all those other things that might happen. You'll get some of that from your building levels, and I'm available to answer questions as you have them too, but I encourage you to reach out to your building administrators with specific questions you have about your classrooms too. So thanks so much for all you're doing. I know this has been a real challenge this year, and we're thinking about normal, and that's kind of been the what is normal and kind of the standing conversation. But this is our next step in getting closer to that. I know that's a piece I'm really excited to be able to provide for our families and for our students. So thank you so much for all that you're doing. I'll talk to you again soon.